Your agency is losing deals because you have no follow-up. Leads fill out your form, someone replies to your cold email, and then nothing happens.
Nothing.
You've got no reminders, no pipeline tracking, and no reactivation, so those leads just disappear, not because they weren't interested in the thing that you were selling, but because you couldn't stay organized long enough to close them. So in this video, we're going to talk about why most agencies lose deals during the follow-up process, how to build a proper follow-up system, and why timing matters a lot more than most agency owners realize. If you guys want more clients, more sales, and marketing that actually works, you should subscribe, because that's what all my videos are built to help you do. So what is the big misconception with follow-up? It's actually a cop-out, and it's that we're just not reaching out to enough people, right? A lot of companies will always use this excuse every single time they realize they don't have enough lead inflow. But what they're probably missing is tracking of those leads, follow-up with those leads, and then visibility into the pipeline of all of the people that they're talking to, right? Specifically, agencies tend to operate off of very limited CRMs or maybe just a bunch of Google spreadsheets, which can work, don't get me wrong. But what tends to happen with that is that the only time they follow up with leads is when they randomly think about them. So it's completely by happenstance. And once you start handling a significant volume of leads, so let's say you're sending out tens of thousands of cold emails every single month, you also have cold calling SDRs, you have people reaching out on LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever it is, you've got all these representatives doing all this outreach for you. You cannot capitalize on all of the work that you're doing. You're going to forget who asked you to follow up next month. You're going to forget who's in a contract. You're going to forget who asked for pricing. You're going to forget who stopped replying after a proposal. You're going to forget who said it was bad timing and to stop reaching out. And then 3 months later, you're going to realize you lost like $50,000 in potential deals, right? Most agencies are losing money because their follow-up process is inconsistent. Now, on another note, there's a very big mindset shift that you need to make, and it's that silence usually doesn't mean no. This is probably one of the most important mindset shifts that you can make in the realm of sales. It's basically just that prospects usually are not actively rejecting you. The timing is just wrong. Maybe they're already inside of contract with another vendor for 3 to 6 months, cash flow is really tight, the founder is overwhelmed with a bunch of other initiatives, the priorities internally are shifting, they're launching another service line, or they literally just forgot to reply to you. And you cannot take non-responses personally or as no's. So if someone doesn't answer your email, they don't call you back, they don't reply to your message after it was seen on Instagram or LinkedIn or whatever, it does not mean that your offer sucks and they looked you up and they think you're stupid and they hate you. It could literally mean that they opened your message in line for coffee and they forgot to respond to you. This is why we have such extensive follow-up processes, not because we really want to be annoying to our potential clients, but because we want to stay visible long enough to catch them when they actually need our service. Okay, now we can talk about what follow-up infrastructure that your business needs. So you need a CRM. So this is somewhere that is central to all of your team that stores and organizes your leads. You need a pipeline, which is some kind of visual system that shows where your prospects currently are inside of the sales process. You need reminder systems. So this is just a way to understand that leads are not disappearing from your pipeline because you forgot to follow up with them. You need follow-up stages. So whether somebody's a new lead, they've booked a call, they're getting a proposal, or they're getting reactivated inside of an email sequence. You need tagging, so you can organize those leads based on industry, timing, interest level, objections, and follow-up stages. And a section to leave notes, so you remember, important context from past sales conversations. For all of the leads, you also need to know all of the following: when you last contacted them, what they said during that contact, whether they booked a call or ghosted you, whether they asked you to circle back and at what time, whether they asked for pricing, or if they stopped responding altogether. So the gist of it is you just need to track the life cycle of the lead, right? So there's hundreds of different ways that people quantify life cycle stages, but a good starting point, for any business is here. So we have lead to qualified lead to booked call, proposal sent, negotiation, closed deal, lost deal, or reactivation. Reactivation, again, just meaning that they're in some kind of sequence, potentially an email drip or something similar, to get them interested in a new service line because you found out that they maybe weren't a good candidate for the other one, or just to get them reinterested in the original offer. Now that you know what infrastructure your company needs, we can talk about what makes a good follow-up sequence. So a good follow-up sequence needs to do the following: keep heavy attention on the original offer, keep your agency top of mind, reduce the confusion surrounding the thing that you sell, and make your company visible enough that the prospect will remember you when the timing is finally right. Now, this is really easy to overcomplicate because you have agencies that are sending these massive walls of text with 3 different calls to action, random links on Instagram and LinkedIn, and completely different messaging every single time they follow up. Now, the better approach is having a structured sequence that includes all of the following. First, our initial outreach is just where we explain the offer clearly and the outcome that we create. Then we have some short bumps just to increase visibility in case they missed it. Then we have a LinkedIn connection to create familiarity and keep your name in front of the prospect outside of their inbox. We also can use phone calls. This is something that a lot of agencies don't do, not scraping the CMO's personal phone number off of a lead database. But if they publicly list a sales line, an office number, or contact number, calling can add a really important touch point and create a human-to-human interaction. I see this all the time. You have so many companies that rely entirely on email and cold DMs when sometimes, a quick phone call is what's really going to move that deal forward. This could even be one of your reps or you asking the person that you talk to just to notify management, and that might move the deal forward. We also want to make sure we're reinforcing the original offer, not with a completely different pitch, just reminding them what you help with and why that thing matters to them, some additional concise follow-ups, and then a breakup message. So you want to give them an easy way to either re-engage with you or close the conversation without any pressure. Now, there's 2 last golden rules you need to keep in mind. Firstly, is that the majority of your follow-ups should provide new value or nuance to the recipient. So this could be a case study of a similar business that you helped, a PDF about your team's experience and why you're so skilled, or a short video from the founder, sowing doubt about competition and talking up why you're the best business for the job. And secondly, is that as your follow-up window gets longer, your cadence should slow down. So you don't need to be emailing somebody, once a week for 6 months. Next, we're going to talk about breakup messages and reactivation. So another massive mistake that agencies make is assuming that breakup messages mean that the lead is completely dead. So breakup messages from leads usually just mean the end of the current sequence. So many of these prospects have huge potential of signing with you in the future, especially when you get responses like, "Oh, reach back out in a few months. Bad timing right now," with no other context, of course. "We're already working with someone. Circle back later." Those are not no's. They should become reminders inside of your CRM, and you need to build systems around those responses. So if somebody tells you to reach back out in Q4, they should immediately become a tagged lead, a future reminder, and eventually enter a reactivation sequence, likely by a dedicated rep, not just sent random emails. Every agency should also have some kind of long-term mailing list, and ideally, everyone should be able to subscribe to this directly through your agency website. Now, on another note, leads that you get into these mailing lists should also be routed into hyper-specific sequences if you're promoting lead magnets. So for example, let's say you're a full-service agency and you run a lead magnet explaining, generative engine optimization and SEO and whatever. That lead should not be inside of a general email list. They should be put into a sequence specifically selling your SEO service, right? There's a quick example here of what my website footer looks like. Now, again, this list should not be just promotional spam. It needs to have industry insights, marketing breakdowns, strategy shifts, new platform changes, case studies, and useful stuff that your market actually cares about. And then naturally, inside of these sequences, you can include soft calls to action. So mention successful client results, talk about new strategies that your company's implementing, discuss problems that your agency has that you're solving, or just show how the market is changing, right? This is going to keep your agency top of mind after these long outbound sequences that you have are over. Sometimes your prospect might ignore your regular outreach for months, but then eventually they see one of your emails, they realize you're an informed and active agency in the space, and then they decide to book a call with you. And the same thing applies to current and past clients. So a former client might see a new strategy that's working for another company that you work with, or a current client might realize there's an additional service they now need, or an industry problem emerges that your agency is uniquely positioned to solve. And the last thing we're going to talk about are reminder systems. The big idea here is that booked calls are not closed deals. It just means the prospect is committed to the idea of working with you. And if you don't have reminder systems, your show rates are going to drop dramatically. I've seen this across every single niche I've worked with over the last 8 years. A good pre-call flow will include confirmation emails, reminder emails, text reminders, calendar confirmations, and pre-call nurture assets. So, for example, immediately after someone books with you, they need to get a confirmation email, a short, potentially intro video, could be the founder talking about the company, how it started, maybe some choice case studies, expectations for the call. It should also sow doubt about the competition. So here's what our competitors are doing that's obviously inferior to what we do. And you could even just include your video sales letter or a case study if you wanted as well. Then you also need a 24-hour reminder, a 4-hour reminder, a 1-hour reminder, and then a text reminder, again, if they opted into that before the call. Some people think this is really excessive, and it is not. Things come up. Business owners, especially larger ones, wear multiple hats. They've got families, other responsibilities. If you really want to reduce no-shows, you have to keep prospects mentally engaged before the meeting. Now, you can automate basically everything I just said with Calendly, CRM workflows, emails, SMS, LinkedIn touchpoints, or any kind of outbound tool like Instantly or SmartLead. Now guys, most agency owners follow up emotionally. They stop because they feel annoying, they feel rejected, they assume that silence means that their offer sucks or the person hates them, or they take the non-responses personally. But again, most prospects are not actively saying no to you, the timing is just wrong. The agencies that win are the ones that stay visible long enough to be there when the timing is right. If this helped you guys, you should leave a like and subscribe and comment what videos you want to see next.